Hello and welcome to Back to School Night. So for the sake of trying to keep this as short but informative as possible and to keep myself on track, not go on anywhere tangents, which is something I like to do, I've broken this video up into roughly 3 parts. So we've got about me, about AP Seminar, then we're going to talk about Schoology and the digital daybooks because those are pretty important parts of our class. So to start, I don't think I've even introduced myself. My name is Tori Curtis. I've been at Erie High School. This is my 3rd year, 4th if you count student teaching. I absolutely love it. It's a great community, and I can't imagine being anywhere else. I'm originally from Kansas City, so go Chiefs, go Royals. After a lifetime of being the dirt worst, it has finally paid off, so that's exciting. I have 2 older brothers, and I have 2 dogs, Hank and Dottie. I also know a lot of weird facts about flamingos, which is why I decided to include that picture. So let's talk about AP Seminar. AP Seminar is by far one of the most confusing courses until you start to really understand it. However, I do think that it's important and valuable for all of my students. These are the skills that I really wish that I had before I went into college. And I just think it's an important class and something you could take with you regardless of where you're going in life. So let's get into it. I'm going to force you guys to read part of the syllabus just because I spent too much time writing this thing. So I'm sorry. Let's talk about the AP Seminar exam. So registration is going to occur in October 2020, so that's coming up here soon. The cost of the exam is $142. However, St. Vrain and Erie High School does provide financial assistance, so please don't let that be a deterrence for you or your student. You can contact me, or we can contact Julie Pullman, who is our AP coordinator for our school. She's also a counselor. Let's look at participation. So this is a team-based course and you are required to collaborate with your classmates. It is essential that you are able to work with each other. And this is not just for my class, but it's something that you're going to need to know regardless of where you're going in life. So students are responsible for the materials and the work that they need to get done for the class before they get to class. Please don't show up empty-handed. That's a message for my students, not for you guys necessarily. And then let's get into the respect aspect of it. So it's not just respecting the opinions or viewpoints of your classmates, but you also need to respect yourself by taking ownership of the essays you write, the presentations that you are a part of, and the knowledge and skills that you are acquiring in this class. We can talk about plagiarism, but basically just don't. Please don't. That's all. Okay, so this is how your AP Seminar score is determined. This graphic stresses me out to look at, and I have it memorized. So I can't imagine that this is like super pleasing to look at for you as someone who doesn't really know a whole lot about AP Seminar. So let's make it a little bit more manageable. This is our first semester. In a nutshell, we're going to just be doing performance task 1. That is the team project and presentation. Students will work in groups of 3 to 5 to identify a real world problem, and then they come up with a research question based on that. And then individually, they will write a 1,200-word research report based on and surrounding that research question that they created as a team. Then they come together and participate in a multimedia team presentation. And I score that, whereas their essay is scored by College Board. However, I cannot give students any sort of insight or hints at what their score is on their presentations. That is something that is released by College Board in July. All right, let's look at semester 2. So in January, College Board releases something called the stimulus material. This is something that I do not get to see until it is released to everybody. Their sources selected by College Board with an overarching theme that is predetermined by College Board. I don't know what that theme is yet. In past years, it's been like perspective or change or transformation. And then based on these stimulus materials, your students should magically be inspired to see a real world connection and problem and then create an argument surrounding that problem. And then they're going to work individually to write a 2,000-word argumentative essay that is scored by College Board. Then they have their multimedia presentation that is individual. Then they have oral defense questions, which are reflective questions. Those are scored by me. And then at the end of the course, so in May, your students will take the end of the course exam. It is made up of 2 parts. Part 1 is 3 short questions and over 1 source. And then part 2, they are writing an argumentative essay based on 4 sources provided by College Board. This is going to roughly be 45% of their score. We spend a good amount of time, especially in April, preparing for this, and students historically have done really well. Here's some information about our grading. It's not, I don't know, super pertinent right now, so I'm going to kind of scroll through. Feel free to pause. So let's get into Schoology. This is where all of our stuff lives. I joke to my students that they should not get face tattoos or like any sort of neck tattoos, but if I were to get one, I would put "It's on Schoology" across my forehead, because it's always on Schoology. I break my materials into weeks, so anything that you need for week 1 would be in the week 1 folder. Everything lives on Schoology. You can always access it on Schoology, including the digital daybooks. Any upcoming assignments would be over here. You don't need to look at that. That's all stuff I need to do. And then over here are course updates. I don't use Schoology to grade, so you don't need to worry about that. All right, let's look at a digital daybook. So a digital daybook is a PDF that students get at the beginning of every single class. They then download this to their iPads in Notability, and they can interact with this by either writing on it, like with a stylus, or they can type into it. So I have the focus for the day, and then we have why is it important, and then just general course information that they need to know for any sort of like upcoming events or anything that they might need to remember. That's going to be in the do not forget. And then I like to start every class with community building. So for example, were you alive during the, if you were alive during, were you alive? If you were alive during the gold rush era, would you have journeyed west to strike it rich? And I found a pretty big divide between like what the students think versus what I think, or what my coworkers think, because I think we, and this also includes you guys, we grew up with Oregon Trail. So we're all like, no, you don't do that. You will die of diphtheria. You will die in the river. You cannot. No one ever makes it. Don't do it. But students there are a little more positive than us. So I don't know. It's interesting. And then this is just a general example of something we would do in a class. So we would have some notes that we would take together and go over as a class, and then we would apply the notes and terminology that we have just learned to a real world problem. So for example, on this day, we were talking about multiple perspectives and lenses and how to examine an argument or a topic through multiple perspectives and multiple lenses. Lenses being scientific or economic or ethical. There's a few different, but we were looking at the real world problem of should we colonize Mars? So students had to write down their initial thoughts, and then after we examined it through different lenses, they had to then reevaluate. I think we all came to the consensus that Mars is not a good option. We should not move to Mars. And then at the end of every daybook, there is a homework section. So anytime your student's like, I don't have any homework, you can ask them, did you look in your homework section of your daybook? Because usually there is at least something they need to be doing. And anytime they see, or you or the student sees an empty checkbox, that is an indication that they have a task that they need to complete on their end. So that kind of wraps things up. However, I love trivia. Can't leave without some sort of trivia information. So I'm going to force you guys to participate, or I guess you could close out now. Either way. What 2013 documentary stirred up controversy over captive killer whales at SeaWorld? What 2013 documentary stirred up controversy over captive killer whales at SeaWorld? Featuring Tillicum. If you guessed Blackfish, you would have been correct. This is also a documentary we are going to be watching as a class in the upcoming weeks. So look out for that. Feel free to watch it as a family, maybe not with little kids, but it's really interesting. Highly recommend it. All right, so let's really wrap things up. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, please feel free to email me. It's the best way to get a hold of me. It's curtis_Tori@svbsd.org. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to having your students in class, and have a great night.